So both of you launched into pretty crowded spaces. Janice, the angler against the Hollywood trades. Emily, in the packed newsletter world, though we were talking earlier, it seems like we could launch a lot more newsletters. I'm wondering how you guys have managed to stand out. Like, I'm asking you your secret to success.
Yeah. Do you mind if I start, Emily?
Go for it.
Okay, but I want to hear yours too. Basically, like when you look at the trade ecosystem of Hollywood and entertainment, like it's all owned by the same person now, Jay Penske, right? And so you can see what has happened there in the chasing a scale model, a scale journalism model, where you basically have the same titles, writing about the same thing over and over again, and also chasing web traffic. And I think what we recognized at the Angler was the value in the depth of information. So we charge $160 a year to subscribe. So we know that people will pay for valuable information, valuable insights, and I think as anyone who sees headlines about entertainment today, whether it's Paramount or Jimmy Kimmel, that a depth of information, it becomes like all the more valuable, all the more important to your job. And in addition to charging this high subscription price and getting, everyone in Hollywood to subscribe, we've been able to leverage that list and get really high-end advertising to reach this audience.
Emily, what about you?
I think with Feed Me, there was a bit of first mover advantage on Substack. I think that I didn't start writing on Substack with a large audience. I kind of went in there with nothing and grew alongside the platform. And I think a lot of the way that I've been able to find success was just timing, which is an annoying answer because you can't go back in time. But besides that, like my newsletter was paywalled from day one, and it was daily from day one. So there was an inherent sort of curiosity about the buzz of what was below that paywall that people were engaging with every day. And then on top of it, like I'm very much in the world of the people that read my letter. So like I go to their restaurants, I go to their parties, I am outside and visiting the businesses that I'm writing about, or I'm speaking with the people that I'm writing about and then recapping it within a few hours. So I think like being very present in New York City and then writing about that for people who both live in New York City or live elsewhere has been sort of, it's picked up like an exciting texture amongst other business newsletters.
It was interesting. I met someone recently who lives in Portland, Oregon, and she's a subscriber, and she's like, it makes me feel like I live in New York.
I hear that a lot. It makes me really happy.
But one thing that also is fascinating, you've grown Feed Me from a one-woman show to, we just talked about you've hired 2 people. So what's the next extension for the company?
Well, we can break some news. I'm gonna launch a podcast this fall. I won't be hosting it, but I hired a restaurant columnist a year ago, and he's become a star in the Feed Me universe. His column is a semi-anonymous restaurant critic, but we're all gonna know who he is now. So I think the newsletter will always be like the core of the brand, and it's where I find stories, and it's where I surface new information, and it's while I'm here with all of you, my readers are talking to each other in the comment section right now. But I'm excited to sort of build out, I said this in an interview with Semaphore earlier this year, but I have very much like a studio mindset. So I like throwing parties, I like sending a newsletter, I like making podcasts, I've made movies, I wanna make more movies. And I think that's the way that like successful media businesses are existing right now.
It's interesting, as you noted, you're not the host of the Feed Me podcast, someone else is. Why that choice?
I'm busy. Yeah.
And in terms of podcasts as well, we talked at the beginning, it feels like there's so many newsletters, but there's opportunity. You saw like, even though there's so many podcasts, there's growth, there's potential there.
I would argue that there's actually like a bit of a white space with food podcasts. Like I can't really think of a cool food podcast that I listen to. I used to listen to Adam Rappaport's, and I think occasionally there's a podcast called How Long Gone, and they talk about restaurants a lot, but it's not a restaurant podcast. And I think that there is a lot of buzz and excitement around New York's hospitality world, and whether you're a celebrity on a press tour or a banker or a writer, you have thoughts about restaurants and eating. And it's also very attractive to advertisers. It's fun.
Amazing. So yeah, there's so many podcasts, but that specific topic was an opportunity.
It seemed like, yeah, that was the move that I wanted to make for our first show, yeah.
And Janice, what about the Inkler? I feel like you're announcing things like all the time.
All the time.
Can you, Emily just broke news on this stage. Anything else you can share with us?
Yeah, so I will follow suit and announce here that we are doing a huge strategic partnership with Letterboxd. And I will announce it right here, that we are, it's both in editorial and in ad sales. And so
For those that don't know Letterboxd,
Letterboxd is like the darling of Gen Z. It's a social media discovery platform for film. And it has just tens of millions of users and is beloved by Hollywood. You have people on there, let's see, Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, Sean Baker, who won the Emmy for Anora this year, many Oscars this year for Anora. They all have accounts on there. And I would say it's probably one of the last safe corners of social media on the internet. And what they do is they reflect the audience. They don't do editorial yet. And we're going to be doing a newsletter and events vertical called Crowd Pleaser about the audience. And I think one of the things, which is kind of threading through a lot of your conversations here today, is the changing dynamic of how you appeal to audience. And I think Hollywood is feeling this very acutely. And we're seeing things where, people are watching TV shows through clips, not through clips on social media, not necessarily the shows. You're seeing Hollywood lose control of their content when it becomes meme content. And do you fight it or do you join it? Minecraft, live chickens in the audience and throwing popcorn. All these things are ways that the community is driving fandom, and the top-downness of marketing is struggling. And so we're going to do a newsletter that combines our reporting, which is very good, and in addition to Letterboxd data and analytics about what they've learned from their audience and about what they're enjoying. There'll be events around that also, but it's a product all about the audience and where it's going. Launching November 12th. We're going to do events around that. We'll announce soon a slate of events. But separate from that, our head of sales, London Sanders, she's going to, for the first time, take over chunks of inventory from Letterboxd, which Letterboxd is a New Zealand-based company. We're based in Los Angeles. And it's going to be this great marriage of industry and audience, sort of the two sides of the entertainment coin. We have a sponsor already for the Crowd Pleaser product in FX Alienation, which is the Noah Hawley show that's out right now. So we see like a great partnership underway.
Well, please invite Emily and me to your future events.
Yes,
it sounds like there'll be a good time.
absolutely.
Well, one thing we talked about, Emily, you mentioned that when you joined Substack, you kind of maybe had the early mover effect there. I'm curious, why Substack? Why have you continued to stuck with Substack? Because we've seen there are other platforms you can go to. And I know you have to give a percentage of your revenue to Substack. So what has really Substack, brought to you that you want to continue being there?
I think, very surface level, the comment section and the chats have been super important to my paid subscribers. So you're getting the newsletter every day, but you're also getting access to these other paywalled corners of the platform. In terms of distribution, I would say a third of my readers are coming from the platform itself. They're finding me through either those annoying notifications that you get when you subscribe to a newsletter, and it's do you want all these other ones? A lot of people find me through that. And like I said, I didn't come over with an audience or an email list. It's grown on there. Why not go somewhere else? It kind of goes back to the time management thing I just said. Even to think about building my own thing, that's a big hurdle right now, and I'm a small team. It's also it's been good for me. I'm really enjoying I hate the word community, but the community that I've built there. And you're even seeing The Economist or New York Magazine or The Infatuation weigh these options, and they've done the numbers, and they're seeing the benefits of the distribution on there as well. So it works if you can figure out the strategy that meets that platform in the right way.
And Janice, Inkler Media is also on Substack. So I'm curious, anything else you'd add that Emily didn't say that really brings so much value to you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Substack has been great to us. We have spent $0 on IT and tech, right? And that you're able to get up and get going right away. Today, for example, speaking to the community part, Substack has created Substack Live, which are live videos. Richard Rushfield, who's my partner in The Ankler, he went live with Jonathan Last from The Bulwark to talk about Jimmy Kimmel, in addition to lots of other things that people in media and entertainment care about today. Like, and boom, you know, you have like tens of thousands of people watching a conversation live. You own the video. You can put it on YouTube. You can put it on social. It's community building for us. I was watching the subscribers roll into our audience, and you know, likewise, I'm sure some to The Bulwark. And so those sort of recommendations, the community is great, but I imagine a future down the road where, you know, we're going to reverse it from what, like, let's say a New York Magazine did, where this will be part of what we do, and we will eventually have someone who can sort of help build us off Substack as well.
Keep me updated when you make that shift and provide tips to Emily, I think. One thing I want to just end on is you both had, you know, careers in legacy media. Emily, I'm curious with you, what attracted you to legacy media, and then why did you leave?
I think, you know, growing up on Long Island, having proximity to New York City, and like the media was like a booming industry at that point. And I think I'm very influenced by like, everything will be influenced by like my proximity to New York City when I was growing up. And then I went to school in the city. And my first job was running social at The Cut, and it was 2016. So the New York Magazine was breaking stories about Trump and Weinstein and Justin Bieber. And it was just like the most incredible place for a story, somebody who wants to tell stories to work. That being said, like, it is a gift when I still get to write for a legacy magazine and get edited by like my editor at GQ or like other magazines that I write for occasionally. I would also say, like, a job like mine, I have to pay a legal team and an editor and a fact checker, and like, you don't get that just going independent off the bat. Like, I think Substack has access to legal resources. I haven't ever met them, like Oz figure, but like, you need to think about those things when you work in media, and when you leave a magazine or a legacy company, you don't have that. And then on the flip side, I get to write things that probably would never get greenlit at a legacy magazine.
We're over time, but Janice, anything you'd add in terms of like the value of legacy media today?
Yeah, well, I think we're seeing the market put a value on legacy media, right? And you know, I hate to see it. I think that, you know, whenever people say, you know, it's so bad, there's always someone who's going to say, but we still haven't found the floor, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and that's really distressing. And I think when you're seeing things, I'll bring up Penske again with their lawsuit against Google, right, around AI. I just think, you know, media has gone through one cautionary tale after another, including AI right now and licensing your material to platforms, that having your business be dependent on a big tech platform, like, they will always pull the rug out from under you. We've seen it time and again. And so I think what's great about what Emily does, what we do, like, we know our audience, we own it. It goes with us wherever we go. It's not, we are in charge of our destiny. And I think it's really hard to decide that, you know, Google is in charge of your destiny.
On that note, thank you so much for joining us today.